We heard Jesus say in the gospel, where I'm going, you know the way. And Thomas, who is, as we know, kind of a practical sort, says, look, Jesus, we don't know where you're going, so how can we know the way? It brings up the question of, do we know where we're going? Because if we don't, we certainly don't know the way. Where do we think we're going? I don't mean like we're going to the store, or I'm going on vacation, or even where our career is going. Where are we going when our life here is ended? Something that lasts forever. Where do we think we're going? And if we don't think we're going to God, then where do we think we're going? Jesus says, I'm going to prepare a place for you. He's welcoming us to have some place to go, to have a goal. This is where I'm going. It's where I want to go. And that's where I'm headed. I'm going to prepare a place for you, he said, so that where I am, you also may be. That you might be with me and the Father and the Holy Spirit. So, if we can agree that that's where we're going, then the question comes up, how are we going to get there? What's the way? It's good to know the way once we have a destination. Otherwise, we may never arrive. So we could get directions. Let's say you ask me, how do I get to the Franciscan retreat house out in Prior Lake? I'd say this. Well, the quickest way with the fewest lights is to get on 35W South, get off Burnsville Parkway, and it swings around. So even though you're going west, you got to take a left. So you take a left off of the ramp to Burnsville Parkway and just follow that to 42. But you got to be careful because there's a place in Burnsville Parkway where the road kind of goes straight, but the parkway goes right. So you got to take a right. Just be careful about that. But that's nothing. You get to 42. When you get to 42, take another right. And then when you come down the hill, there'll be a big water tower there. That's County Road 27. Okay? Know that tower? Okay, water tower, good. Take a left on the County Road 27. Go 3 or 4 miles or so, and then you're going to be taking a right on County Road 44. There will be a light there. You can't miss it. It'll say 44. Just take a right at the light. Go up about maybe a half a mile or so. There will be a sign with an arrow that goes Franciscan Retreats. Okay, take that road. Take a left. But you see you're going down into a residential area, so you go down in there and the road curves right. So you have to take another left, and that one goes straight into the retreat house. There you go. You can't, it's impossible to miss it. In other circumstances, I want you to know I've done the impossible. So that's one way to get there. Or if you asked me about how you get there to the Franciscan retreat house, I could say this. Follow me. I'll drive slow enough. But just follow me. Which would you rather have? Well, thanks. Jesus says, follow me. He is the way. He just doesn't tell us. All we need to do is to read the Gospels to find the way to the Father. Because that's where he's going. He says so at the end of the gospel, as I'm going to the Father. So follow me because that's where I'm going. Do what I do. The works that I do. You heard that in there too. So it's kind of simple. We have his example. Just follow him. And I think that's a pretty good idea because he is the way. He says, I am the way. Follow me. And so we try to do that. But sometimes it's a little difficult. We can't figure out, well, the gospel says this, but I'm not sure how it applies to my life as it is right now. So we just kind of have to try to figure it out. But this is where what St. Thomas once wrote. St. Thomas of Aquinas once wrote. He said, stay close to Christ who is within you, for he is the way. Stay close to him. Keep your eyes on him. Listen to his words, because he is the way. And as we're trying to figure it out, St. Thomas goes on to say a little bit later, it's better to limp along in the right direction, because that's what we do sometimes. I'm trying it, but I'm not getting it right. We make mistakes. It's better to limp along the right road than it is to run down the wrong path. Because if we run down the wrong path, we're going to end up further and further away from where we want to go. Stay close to Christ. The Christ within, the Christ who leads us. And we'll find the way, because he is the way. Secondly, as we are trying to make this way, we need to realize that we can be misled sometimes. Maybe by well-intentioned people. And someone ever says, I know exactly what you're supposed to do. You do it this way, and that's how it's supposed to go. We could go, okay, wait a minute. How is it that you know more about my life than I do? So they might tell us, and even with good intentions, sometimes they're not right. They might tell us something that doesn't apply to our lives. It's not the truth. Not a deliberate falsehood. It's just not the truth. We got to listen to the Christ within as well. And sometimes there are people who just flat out lie to us for their own benefit. We see that played out in the public sphere. There's so many lies floating around, I'm not exactly sure sometimes what the truth really is. So we got to watch out for the lies. But Jesus is the truth. He just doesn't tell us the truth, which he does, but he is the truth. And that means this. Jesus is the truth of God's love for us. Because God sent Jesus, his son, his only son, into this world to say, I want to be with you. I love you so much, I want to be with you, and I want to walk with you. In fact, I want to be within you. And it was a kind of love that where Jesus ends up pouring out his life for us. Now that we can trust. He is the truth of God's love. And that truth can settle in us to keep us on the right way. Even limping along. And the last thing is that he says, I am the life. One way of looking at this is to say, can you think of people in your life that when you are with them, you just feel better? They bring out the best in you. You have a better time. It's just easier, relaxing, feeling at home, feeling safe, having fun. Can you think of somebody like that? If you can, you have just a little bit of a peek in what it's like to be with Jesus Christ. He is the life. As we heard from last week's gospel, he says, I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Things apart from Christ that are not along with what he does and with what he says rob us of life. He came here that we might have life and have it abundantly. That life we begin to experience as we know him and let him into our lives day by day. It brings us alive. It's what he's there for. I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. So Jesus is the way and the truth and the life. And because of that, he can say what he said at the beginning of the gospel. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Oh, that's easier said than done. Yeah, it is. But do not let your hearts be troubled, for I am the truth of God's love. I am the way that you want to go to get to him. I am the life that you're looking for. On this Mother's Day, we can also reflect on all the good mothers who have shown us the way, who have spoken the truth of love to us, and who have given us life.